You can unmute yourself and ask any of you.
It's free and anyone can use it.
Anyone can use it. Okay. And what is UI? User interface? What is that? Can anyone tell?
The part of code that interacts with the user.
Okay, very good. Okay. So let's move to layman terms. UI or user interface is anything that you see when you open an application. Whatever part is visible with you, whatever part you can alter, that all comes into user interface. Okay. And open source is when there is some code which anyone can alter. The copyright is not limited to one person. The users have right to change, use, and distribute among themselves. Okay. So let me give you an example of user interface. I have developed a mini application that will be used in later example. So um, is the mobile screen visible?
Yes.
Okay. So this, whatever you see, the app bar, the text, the button, and another button, all of these come into user interface. I'll show you later on how to, you obviously know how to interact with them. I'll show you what I specifically made this application for. Okay, so we'll continue with this. So Flutter is basically an UI software development kit, which means it is basically made for development of user interface. It can handle backend, but the front end is the first priority of Flutter. And most of the developers are afraid of backend. So we have also selected that Flutter should be used first. We'll be teaching Flutter first so that you can easily understand how to develop a front end before moving to backend. Okay. So first of all, for Flutter or any uh, native development, anything, you need Android Studio. Okay, if you are working with Java or Kotlin, then also you will need Android Studio. And if you are working with Flutter, you can use Android Studio or Visual Studio Code. Any one of those is fine. Okay, but for Flutter to work, you must have Flutter plugin along with Dart. Okay, Flutter is a platform and Dart is the programming language that we use for it. Okay. Now the first question which might have arrived in your mind was why Flutter? Okay, these are the theoretical reasons why we should use Flutter, but the main reason why I started with Flutter was many of us, like in my batch specifically, I've seen many students who started coding after joining college. Okay, so for working with native applications like Java, Kotlin, React.js, or even Python, you need some basic knowledge of that language. But when we start with Flutter, we don't need any basic knowledge. You must be thinking that every language has some basics, we should know them. But Dart is comparatively very easy. It's like writing in English. You'll be you won't even be thinking that you are coding. It will be completely like you are writing in English. Okay. Now let's come to the theoretical reasons. Fast development. Okay. When who those who have worked with Java applications, they might have known that whenever you develop an application and run it on an emulator or a phone connected, you have to wait every time for the application to build. Okay, but here we just have to wait once for the application to build, and then whenever we change anything, we can just reload it. Flutter provides fast hot reload option with which we can easily reload the screen, and it will just show all the changes you've done in the code. It is very easy to use. Okay. Now, I have already told you expressive and beautiful user interfaces. Flutter was basically developed for user interface and user experience. Okay, it is very easy to handle, and the functioning is also very smooth with Flutter. Like with Java, I think you have to have different files, XML file for UI, and you have Java files for backend. We don't have all that in Flutter, or everything is only one file. You can create different screens in different files, but if you want and you want if you want it to be congested, you can create everything in one file only. So, and native performance, again, it is very smooth and it can be used on any platform. You can use Flutter applications on iOS also and on Android also. While Java and Kotlin are basically used in Android, that's why we use Android Studio to build them. Now, one more thing about Visual Studio Code and Android Studio. Guys, if you have a laptop with higher RAM like 8 GB or 16 GB, then only install Android Studio. Otherwise, you must install Visual Studio Code or your laptop will just burn. Okay. And about the emulator. Now, there's this one thing called emulator, with which you can have a mobile experience on the laptop itself. Now, I don't recommend using an emulator while development because sometimes the emulator makes the system heated up so much that it's very difficult to overcome that. My personal experience is that we should be using mobile with USB debugging. It will be very easy to handle and it won't even put pressure on your laptops. Now let's move to what we will be studying today. So today, first thing that we'll be studying is concept of widgets. Now, what Flutter does is, in Flutter we do not have to write everything differently. We just have to use some widgets. Okay, all widgets are predefined. So you can create your own widgets also. Now, the first thing is, what are widgets? So I'll show you the application again. Now, this was the main application I made. This app bar, it is also a widget. This text, this is also a widget. This button, this is also a widget. Everything you see on the screen is a widget. You must have seen widgets on your phone. They come as shortcuts to use in home screen. It's not like that, but yeah, it's not like that, but it is easier to use. So Flutter is easy for people to understand. Now, there's one thing in Flutter that you can create your own widgets. We'll be discussing that like really long time. We have really long time before we discuss that. I think, yeah, I shouldn't have said really. I think 4 to 5 sessions later we'll discuss how to create our own widgets. Now, there's one more thing that is really important to understand before moving to Flutter, that is tree-like build. Okay, this tree-like build. Now, do you guys know what a tree is? Anyone tell me? I'm not talking about the greenery and that scenery trees and all. I'm talking about the trees we use in programming, like binary trees. Or has anyone any knowledge about what a tree is? You can unmute yourself and you can just tell me. Okay, no one? Okay, fine, I'll tell you. Now, what a tree is, it has a root node. Okay, like a real tree. It has, this is the this is the bark. Okay, this is the ground. These are the roots. I am not able to draw the roots. Okay, just let's assume these are the roots. Okay, and these are the branches. Okay, and then on the branches, Okay, these are the leaves. I am sorry, I'm not good at drawing. Okay, so in the in programming language we have trees in reverse order. Like here we see the leaves are at the top, but when we do coding, the leaves are at the bottom and the root is at the top. Okay, so this is the root node. Okay, let me get a new sheet. Okay, this is the root node. Okay, now it can have as many children as it wants. Okay, we are not discussing a binary tree. Binary tree has only two children, but a normal tree can have as many children as it wants. Okay, now the children themselves can have more children. Okay, so suppose this is the child which has more children. Okay, now obviously those also can have more children, but okay, so and this is the root. Let me write here root, and the children which the nodes, actually these are all the nodes, these circles you see, these are all the nodes. The nodes which don't have any children are called leaf nodes. Okay, leaf nodes. And those, yeah, so now one more very important thing, that obviously these are the children, but what are these? The grandchildren, don't tell me. Is also preferred, but I'll say descendants. These are the descendants, or maybe, and the root node, if you go lower and lower, the root node can be referred as ancestor, as you know. Okay, now this concept of trees is used in Flutter. How is that? Let me tell you. Okay, I'll just delete this. If you want, you can take screenshot, otherwise I'll share the recording. Okay, so as I've told you that we have different widgets in Flutter. Guys, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So we have different widgets in Flutter. Okay. Now, suppose I have not taught you any widgets, but let's consider there are two widgets called container. Okay, container, and there is one more called column. Okay, suppose these are the two widgets. Now you all know what a container is and what a column is. Okay, container is something that contains anything. Okay, so in Flutter, container is capable of having only one child, while the column can have as many children as it wants. Okay, we'll be using all of this. So please note it down somewhere. We'll be using all of this in applications. These are really important widgets, especially the column widget. That is really important. It is used in list views and anything, everything actually. Okay. Now there are many widgets which are capable of having only one child, not just container. I'll tell you as we move on to coding part. We'll discuss all of this one by one, and while coding itself, we'll have hands-on session. This session was theoretical. Most of theoretical part was there because I want you to understand that you need Android Studio or VS Code along with Dart and Flutter to attend these sessions. So this session has been done completely, not completely. We'll have hands-on also, but somehow it is theoretical, so please bother with me. Okay, so these widgets, now this can also, now listen, this part is very important. Suppose this is the node, this node can be column. Okay, this container has a child. Okay, it can be column. Now this child can have as many children as it wants. Okay, now again, as we have this, we can have one of the children as container. Okay, so we can just have these widgets nested into one another and we'll develop an application. That's how simple it is. We don't have to worry about anything else. No, I don't think there is any coding part yet. The coding part is mostly in the backend. This is just simply arranging stuff one inside another. It's just like nested loop, nested if else, everything. It's just like that. Okay. Now you can also see in this example, is my code visible? I hope it's visible.
Yes.
Now you can see in this example also, we have had container. See, this is the container. This is child. Okay, this is another widget center. This is child, another widget column. Now column is very important. Column has children. Okay, whenever we have any widget that uses that has a single child, we use the property child. And when we use any widget that has more than one child, obviously more than one children, then we use the children property. Now as you can see, in children we have different widgets. Okay, in children we have different widgets. These we have not discussed yet, so we won't see them. Okay, now another important part of this Flutter application is the difference between stateful and stateless widget. Okay, so stateful and stateless. Now, what do you understand by stateful? Okay, I don't think you might have any knowledge about this, but let me tell you, a stateful widget is any widget that can be changed according to the user. Okay, a stateful widget is any widget that can be changed according to the user. For example, when in Instagram you use the like button or double tap on the picture, it gets liked. Now it changes the state of your screen also. Okay, how does it change the state of your screen? The heart and the like at the bottom left of the picture gets red. Now that's how you change the state of a screen. But a stateless widget is something which cannot be changed even after you do anything to it. Okay, like icons, I think icons cannot be changed. Yeah, they can be changed if you want them to be stateful, but like that, for example, I cannot just change this Android Studio icon by clicking on it again and again. I cannot change. Right now this is stateless widget. Okay, to show you how the stateless and stateful widgets are changed, I have developed this mini application. Is this application visible? The app bar is saying stateful and the text is saying can be changed, and there's this button show. Okay, now if I click on this text, you can see that it has changed. Okay, I'm clicking on it again and again, and it is changing its state. Okay, similarly with this button, I'm clicking on it, and see, when I click on show, the text gets shown and the button text changes from show to hide. Okay, see, this was show, this is hide, and then when I click on hide, the button changes to show again and the text which was shown earlier gets disappeared. Now see, my actions are altering the state of the screen. Okay, now this is how you develop a stateful widget. Okay, all of my actions are deciding what happens to the screen. Now every time you use a stateful widget, you have to keep in mind that if the user changes it, the whole screen has to be changed. It doesn't mean that you will navigate to another screen. No, it will just be changed from within. That's how you build a stateful widget. Now we'll show you stateless widget. This is the next screen. This is stateless. Okay, I'm clicking on it again and again, and nothing happens. Like nothing happens to the screen. This is what a stateless widget is. This whole screen is a stateless widget, whereas this whole screen is the stateful widget. So, were you able to understand the difference between stateless and stateful? Hello? Hello? Is anyone there? I don't know.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So, you have understood concept of widgets. We have done tree-like build, and we've also done the differences between stateful and stateless widgets. Okay. Now we will move to develop an application. Okay. Now, how do we develop an application? I will also show you the real-time changes while I develop the application. So we'll just close this project. Now, what you have to do after, let me tell you beforehand, I won't teach you how to install Android Studio, VS Code, Dart, Flutter, nothing. You can search, I will share a video at the end of the session in the chat itself. You can learn how to download all those from there, or you can search yourself. It's up to you. Okay, but yeah, after that, we'll have this start a new Flutter project. Now, we have to select Flutter application. Okay, we are not developing a plugin or a package or a module. We are developing a Flutter application. So we select Flutter application. Next. Now I select the project name, any name. Okay, let's make it first. You cannot use capitals. Okay, first. You cannot use spaces, but you can use underscores. Okay, first application. Now you have to select the Flutter SDK part. In mine, it is all selected. Project location is already selected, and description can be changed. Like first project to demonstrate stuff. Okay, now you can get your package name. Anything done after .com dot. Okay, you change it. I have kept it as my name and the project name itself. Okay. Now we press the finish button and our application will be loaded. Now, while it's taking some time, do you guys have any doubts? Well, it was all theory, so I expect no answer. Okay. Now, when you create a new Flutter project, you will see all this code is in beforehand. Okay. All this code might intimidate you, but don't let it do so. You just have to delete it. Okay. Now, I'll just delete everything from here, from theme data. I'll clear this. I'll clear this home page, everything from here. Okay, I'm clearing everything. You don't need to see this. This is just some demo they have given beforehand. Okay, now as we discussed stateless and stateful widgets. So we need this home page. Okay, this is the, okay, before that, let me explain it to you. What are the components of the app? Now, first of all, we import this material.dart. This is used to import the widgets like this material widget here. It is used to import that. Otherwise, you won't be able to use all this. See, if I remove this, everything is coming in squiggly line. Won't be able to use anything. These all functions and widgets come inside material.dart. Okay. Now, since most of you have done programming, you know that every program gets started, or the execution of every program gets started from void main. Okay, so here also the application gets started from the main itself. Now we have this function run app. Okay, you can change this no function, you cannot change the function, you can change the argument. You can make it first app, but then again you'll have to change this. You have to make it first app. Now see, the squiggly is gone. So what this does is it runs the app. It's very clear from the name itself. I told you this is all just English, complete English. Okay, so this is the class first app which we created. It extends a stateless widget, which means you cannot change the state of the screen when you are on this class. Okay, so you can select variables here, like variables have a string name. You can select variables here, but when you change these variables inside the build or anything, the state of the app, the state of the class or the screen won't be changed by this. Okay, so if you are thinking of setting any variables and based on those variables you are thinking of changing the state, you must use stateful widget. Okay, now this is where every time you develop any stateless or stateful widget, this comes by default. Okay, now suppose I have to build stateful widget, you just have to write CTF and it will suggest itself. Okay, now I can name it my home page. Okay, see. Okay, now we can remove this for now. So this part, this widget build and this class, this extends this, you know what extends means, those who have done Java must know. Extend is when we have inherit something from some other class. Okay, so here we are inheriting the state properties of stateful widget into my home page, and here we are inheriting state of my home page into my home page state. Okay, now in Dart the underscore means private. So in Java or maybe in C++, you must have known that we use private keyword to declare some private variable. Okay, but here we use the underscore. Wherever we put the underscore, the variable will be private. That means it can be accessed only by that class and not even by its children. Okay, so we'll come back here. These things you don't have to worry about, it comes by default, but you can see that this means widget, this is the return type, this is the function name build, and this is the context. What is context? Context is anything that is on the screen. Okay, that is context. Just keep that in mind. I won't be giving you all the definitions to bore you. But let's come to the widget material app. Material app is the main widget which is used for an application. Okay, it has the title. The title is the one which will be appearing on the icon. Like if below the icon we see the title, it will be appearing. But if you are using Android, you will also have to change the icon. If you're changing the icon here, I mean the title, if you're changing the title here, you'll also have to change it from the manifest. Okay, manifest.xml is the file which is used to handle the dependency, not the dependencies actually, the permissions and all the requirements that an app requires. Okay, we'll come to know about that in the later sessions. Okay, that is very complicated part. So this is the title of your app. Okay, this is Flutter demo by default, but I will change it to first application. Now home. Okay, before we'll get to theme later on. Home. Okay, let me run this and then I'll explain. Okay. So home. What home is? Now home is the first screen that you will be seeing when you open your application. Okay, if I change to some other screen, whenever the application opens, you will see that screen. I'll show you that after I make another screen, obviously. So material app is basically used to define the routes. Okay, what routes we are using in our application, we can define them in our material app. Okay, and it is very preferable by all the developers to define routes here instead of using the whole navigation method. Okay, but again we'll be discussing that later on. It's also very complicated. I'll come to that. Now let first. Okay, okay, okay. Have you guys understood till now? Are you following? Or do you guys have any doubts? You can ask me before while this application is building. See, if you won't tell me, I'll just assume that you guys have no doubts at all. Okay.
What is override?
Override. Okay, yes, very good. Now, I think you are asking override, so you don't know what inheritance does. See, when we inherit something, inheritance. Okay, when we inherit something, I'll just use that. Okay. Now, suppose this is the base class. Type here. Base. Okay, this is the base class, and we inherit something from the base class to the derived class. Okay. Suppose this is the derived class. I'll just write here derived class. Now, I hope you all know what inheritance is. I told you so this it. Inheritance is when we inherit some properties or we get some properties from some other class into our class. Okay, when a base class gives some of the properties to the derived class. Now suppose this base class, okay, now suppose base class has some function and let's name it, okay, name it fun. Okay, it has a function fun. It does something like, suppose it prints something. It prints, okay, it prints, okay. I'm telling in C, suppose. Okay. Now print base. Okay. Now you have to change this function. Well, inheritance is not supported in C, but I'm just taking an example. Don't don't assume I don't know C. Okay, I'm just taking an example. You can also make it C++ or C out. C++. Okay. Now, if this function is to be changed by me, suppose I don't want to print base when this function is inherited in derived class. I don't want to print base. Okay, I want to print what we call derived. Okay, I want to print derived. Okay, so you cannot just call the function like this and assume that it will print derived for this. No. In C++ we use virtual function, but in other languages like Java and all, we use override. Okay. Now, overriding is when we have to recreate a function that was already created in some other class and we have inherited it. Okay. Now, suppose, yeah, I've told you, yeah. So, when we have to recreate this function fun, we'll have to use the keyword override before that. Okay. Before that, I'll have to write override so that I can recreate this function and then I will be able to change it. I will be able to see out derived. Okay. Now, when you call this function from derived class, it will print derived, and when you call this function from base class, it will print base. Okay, so the function is basically the same, but what it does, what it prints and what it does gets changed. So here when we have used build, you can see that as you know, we are inheriting the properties of stateless widget into our first app. Okay, so now the stateless widget has some function called build, but we have to redefine that. Okay, we don't want some, like, if suppose I have not redefined that, so you'll just have to call it. You won't have to write all this after that. Okay, you just have to call it and it will show you some predefined code which has been kept in the stateless widget class, and we don't want to see that because it's basically empty. Like, you must have known that in C++ when you declare a virtual function, we mostly keep it empty. Similarly, whenever we create a function that is to be changed by the derived class, we keep it empty. We don't write any code inside the function which we know that the inherited class will change. Okay, the inheriting class will change. Okay, so this function must have been empty in the stateless widget while we redefine it in the first app class. Okay, so let's move to this. So this is not the material app widget. Okay, you are seeing the blank screen in the phone. This is not material app widget. Okay, this is my home page. Okay, since we called the home page at the home helps us to know what class is to be called as soon as the application gets opened. Okay, so you won't be seeing anything related to first app. All you will be seeing, everything that you will be seeing will be after the home page. Okay, so let me just change it a bit. Let us learn about the scaffold widget. Okay, if we use the scaffold here and reload it, okay, this is the reload button. You see the black screen got turned into white screen, and we have this tiny debug banner here. Okay, this banner shows that we are in the debugging mode, which means we can check what we are doing live on our phone or emulator, and we can change it. You can remove this banner by going into Material app, show debug show checked mode banner false. Okay, now we'll reload it and see the banner is gone. Okay, now what is scaffold? Okay, a scaffold is the widget which is used to optimize the whole screen. Okay, this will optimize the whole screen in such a way that what all widgets you're using inside it gets fit. Okay, not like if you are using something bigger than the screen, it will adjust on itself. No, it just optimizes your screen for usage. Okay, I'll just show you using some properties, I mean the arguments of scaffold. Okay, so first argument that is to be given to scaffold is app bar. Now we are using app bar, so app bar is another widget. We can use directly the app bar widget from the material.dart library. Okay, now if you reload it, you will see there is this app bar. Okay, this is blue. You can also change the color, the background color to colors dot red. Okay, now you reload it and see this is red. Okay, it is as simple as you see it. You just have to write some words and it will just magically happen. I just love it when it happens in real time. Okay, now you have to give some title to your application. Okay, now title. See, you just have to write English words. Title. Now title is what? Text. Text. We use text widget here, and let's give home page. Okay, home page. If you load it, and you see this is home page written right on your screen. Okay, now it has other arguments also. The scaffold widget has other arguments also. For example, body. Okay, body we'll discuss later on. First of all, we'll discuss floating action button. Okay, now whatever you're writing on the left hand side of the colon is mostly whatever you write on the right hand side of the colon, just with the capital letter. See, floating action button. Now capital F and floating action. Similarly, app bar with capital A. Okay, it's as simple as it is. Okay, now we reload it. Okay, this is the button. Okay, this is the button that comes under scaffold. Okay, this. These are again not children of scaffold. These are the arguments that are to be given to the scaffold class. Okay. Now, since we will change the color of this one also, background color, colors dot red. See, it is so simple to change the color even. You just have to write colors dot red and it will get changed. Okay, it has different options also, like you can make it dark by putting 900 here and it will be dark red. Okay, and you can make it light red by putting 100 or even 200, and see it is now pinkish reddish, I don't know. Okay, but will be okay. This is our floating action button and this is our app bar. Okay, now there are many other widgets that can be used, but I won't be discussing them. You can search them and get to know about scaffold widget more. Because the scaffold widget and this my app state, my material app, these are used in every application. Okay. Also the container widget, which I will be discussing after showing you the theme property. We have this argument theme, which we commented earlier. We'll just uncomment it and we'll give theme. Again, theme capital T, we just have here theme data instead of this. Okay. Now we'll make it theme data dot dark. You've seen dark mode, you like dark mode. Yeah, see the screen has become black. I mean, not exactly black, it's grayish, but it is dark mode. Okay, and you can use light mode to come back to white screen. Okay, or just remove it. Okay, get it dark again. Okay, you can just remove this part and it will come to white again, because that is the default theme. You have light theme by default. You can change it according to your preference and okay. Now we'll come to container. What is container and how will we use it? For that, first of all, we'll be creating a body. We didn't have a body for scaffold. Body. Now this, if you have done HTML, this is more like HTML, right? The title, like we did the title before, title in the title, this is the app title, and then in the app bar also we did the title of the screen, this is the title of the screen, this is the body, then now we are going to make the body of the screen. Okay, so let it be container. Okay, now the container is body. So I want to make this container in the center. What will I do? You are not able to see the container, of course. Let's give the width 100 and height 100, and let's give it color. Okay, now we reload it, and you can see there is this white container with width 100 and height 100 here, but we have to make it center. What will we do? We'll just click here. There's this idea button kind of bulb thing will come, and we just have to wrap it with center. We don't have to use anything, we just wrap it with center and it will come in the center. Okay, it is so easy that you won't even be thinking that you are coding anything. Okay, now I want to have, okay, now this thing, when you wrapped it with center, you can see center is the argument given to me, and the center has a child called container. Okay, we discussed child and children concept, the tree-like concept. This is it. I'm going to show it to you again. We use child, and now the child is text. Okay, now I want to give the text as container is in not shown. I think the text must have been white or something. Let's change the color. So for that we use style, text, style. Text style. And in that we'll be specifying the color. Let it be colors dot 900. Okay. Now we reload it. Okay, now you can see container is in center. Now we want to enlarge the container. Let's say 400, 400. Now let's see. Okay, too large. 300, 300. Okay, now you can see the container is in center, but the text is not. Can anyone tell me what to do to bring the text in center? Anyone unmute your and tell me. Any wild guess is welcome. No one? Okay, let us try this. I'm not sure. We'll wrap it with center. Okay. See, the container and the text both are in. Okay. This was so easy. The style property, yes, let me tell you about the style property. The style property is basically used to give the text the kind of view we want. For example, now we want to enlarge the text. Okay, you can just have it in a nice manner. Have proper indentation in it. Okay, a responsibility to get the indentations. Okay. Now in style only, we'll add font size. Let us make it 20. Okay. Now the text is bigger than before. Okay, see. Now, do you have any questions regarding how to develop a basic application using Flutter? We'll be covering more of the widget later on. But do you think this is difficult? I don't think so, because it is just writing in English. See, the container has width, the container has height, the container has color. It is white. We have written white. Okay. So we have not done anything regarding the button, the floating action button we added, because that comes under the buttons property, which we'll be handling later on. So if you like this session, you are most welcome in the next session, all of the sessions. And if you didn't like it, it is mostly because of the theoretical part which we had. From the next sessions, we won't be having any theoretical part. Everything will be hands-on. And yes, I have some homework for you people. And the homework is, okay, let me present. Yes. The homework is you have to install Android Studio or VS Code in your laptops. From the next session onwards, you will be doing everything along with me. I can ask anyone to share screen at any moment to check if they are doing, because if you are not doing along with me, what is the point of just seeing and not applying? And you have to install Flutter and Dart plugin. Okay, I'll just share the link of the video and also the links from you to install it. Okay. Okay, so let me just stop sharing. Okay, yes, someone has asked, what are the minimum specifications for a laptop to run Android Studio? You can run Android Studio with i5. i3 will be very low because it takes a lot. Android Studio takes a lot of RAM space and the processor gets heated up too much. So take i5 or more than that. I prefer i7, although I don't have the laptop with i7. But I prefer it. If I am going to buy another laptop, I'll buy i7. Okay, that's all for today. If you have any questions, you can just ask in the chat. Now I can access the chats also. And Otherwise, you can just unmute yourself and ask. Do you have any question, guys? Yes, MV Praneeth, I'll share the recording after class. And is Android Studio necessary? No, Android Studio is not necessary. You can use VS Code as well. Okay, that's all. Okay, no new questions. Okay, so that's all for today. You can thank you guys for attending the session and thank you for being so patient with me. Now we can end this, okay? Okay.